Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us. I'd like to introduce you to Jin Eui Kim. Welcome back to the new Craftsman Gallery, Jin, for what is your third solo show with us. Our usual private view would have consisted with a talk by you about your work and a glass of Prosecco shared with gallery friends, but obviously under the circumstances, things are a bit different this year. We're going to give this a go instead. We last met in 2019 when we showed together. Little did we know what we were on the brink of. Tonight, Jin is going to talk to us about the concept, his basic concepts behind his fantastic work, and also how the pandemic has allowed him to develop a lot of ideas that you had in the past that you didn't quite have time to explore. So in some ways it's been quite a good thing in a way. If you have any questions, please email us on the email address at the bottom of the screen, and Jin will answer your questions at the end of the talk. So over to you, Jin.
Okay. Hi everyone. Nice to meet you. My name is Jin Eui Kim. You can call me Jin. Before I start, I would like to say thank you to Elenia who gave me this opportunity. Okay, let me introduce a bit about myself. I'm from South Korea and I've been living in Cardiff, Wales for 16 years. I came to Cardiff to study ceramics, and I keep working and making living with my family here. Okay, this is a third exhibition solo show with new Craftsman Gallery. So some of you already attended in 2019, so you may know about my work, but some of you never seen my work, or you need to know about my work. So I will explain the basic or general concept of my work, and as well as about the new work I developed during the pandemic. Okay, my work is about exploring the ways of manipulating perception of three-dimensional form by different arrangement of tones. So depending on how I arrange tonal band or tones, there appear illusory optical phenomena on the surface, and then those optical effects can influence to the three-dimensional form. So, and also I try to make the surface ambiguous, not much information available on the surface. Then people not sure whether it is concave or convex, or curvature or straight, or dark or light, something like that. So like, for example, in the darkness we can't recognize certain things we used to know. So that is because lack of information. So I try to make the surface really ambiguous. My work can be divided three types according to the different techniques. So let me explain with the actual work. Okay, this work made of the earthenware fired at 1120. This is made wheel thrown and turned on the wheel and painted by brush on the wheel. So I make 18 different grays and 8 different blue and red. So depends on the arrangement of band. As you see, lots of different phenomena or optical effect appear. So let me explain what we can expect in visually. So like here, So actual reality is concave, but I applied the other way around. So tone get lighter to the center, and the lighter tone normally appear to advance. So the center area come up, and then the darker area come down. So not sure whether it's concave or convex. And also, actually, this is a rigid profile, and this is a smooth. But there's not much information about what is real. So then touch can reveal its reality. By visually, you can't say which one is which. And then it depends on where viewer look at the work, like a location, different location. So like a 45 angle higher, like here, you see only smooth curvature. But actually from direct front, you can see actually this rigid profile. The rigid profile can provide different angle. Like from here, you can see the upper side more, and underneath become narrower. So it captures different light and then create different shade. So it's all about the light, and then the surface width of a band can produce different effect. So I apply the lighter tone underneath, and then underneath become darker. So lighter tone normally wants to be above because of our expectation or experience. We see underneath always dark. So this is against our expectation or experience. So something unusual happening here. And also this angle underneath become reflection, come up to this area. So darker by light and become lighter back because of reflection. Also this edge, like here, so I applied the same pattern over the rim, and then once you see the identical width of band from top to the side, and the rim three-dimensional form can appear flattened, can appear part of pattern. So there is just a main concept. You can see the three-dimensional form can appear differently by how I arrange tonal band. And then next, let's move on to the second technique. These are made of semi-porcelain, fired at 1240. It was made with hand built. I use an extruder to make, before. I made 20 different tonal clay from light as white, dark as blue, dark as black. And I selected some of them, and then I make a different shape of coil. And then by using the coils, I built up by hand. So for example, so these two work, the same pattern, you can see. But you can see this is a rigid, both. But the darker tone here, underneath, darker tone here, above. So they look really different from where, if you look at from the upper side here. And then also they capture different light, and then shade, it become different shade as well. So my work can be viewed differently by where you are looking or where you put on and then distance between the viewer and the object. So all changing wherever you are, or wherever it is. Okay, let's move to did this work? And these three, I made them during the pandemic period. It was difficult to make it happen because really labor-intensive work, and then there were lots of risk. As you see, the individual blocks are built up one by one. So 128 pieces of blocks were used. So it means there are more surface. So it has much more risk in between. So I had to sort out the problem of cracking. So I used to lose 70 or 80% of piece, and now after the project I reduce it 20%. I can't say exactly, but yeah, 20. I'm happy with 20% failure. So this one, and it is kind of kinetic. So when they rotating, the pattern keep moving. So it is something new, challenging or new visual phenomena I am exploring. And then move to the third technique. Okay. This is made of semi-porcelain. I make a slip, semi-porcelain slip out of the clay, semi-porcelain. They were made by the slip casting technique. So I make individual cubes and installed, mounted onto the frame, and to create one particular movement. You can see how they move around. So as I told you before, the lighter tone appear to advance and darker tone receive. And also with the dark background, the shade blended to the background, so only lighter tone left, so it's most striking with the lighter tone. So you can see the undulation, so like a special curvature here. So, but if you see without light, so less shade or less information available, then you can see more something different phenomena appear. And also from direct front, it is two-dimensional. So it has a two-dimensional quality. But if you move to the side, you can see the other side. So you can see three-dimensional quality as well. So this work, the idea of making this work, was on my idea book. And then I couldn't make it happen because I was busy making and then to leave. But during the lockdown, it was a chance for me to develop this work. At the beginning of lockdown, I couldn't go to my studio, so I put a small table on my garden shed. So I started making slip casting, which was new technique for me. I think I made hundred of mold, and I kept realizing or learning about how to make the better quality of mold and also the model. So the idea, this idea was started from one idea. Like one cube has a 6 surface, so except one bottom, so five surface. And then when the light is directing to the cube, there are different tone appear. So what if I can manipulate the tone, and maybe the viewer can see differently? People may confuse with what's going on. So I make a simple cube first, and then try to explore how in different way under the sunshine or with a different light. And yeah, that was a starting point. I was exploring this work. And then, yeah, what else I can say? Yeah, I think I've done everything. I hope I don't forget anything.
So in some ways, when the start of the pandemic started, you panicked, but it was a blessing because it gave you time to explore different areas that you've been thinking about a long time. I remember when we first met, because you come from Cardiff, and you used to say that you didn't mind the drive down here because it gave you lots of time to think, which you don't get. So, on your long drive here, you used to think about, different ideas, and in a way this was forced upon you. And I mean, these pieces are just remarkable. So there's this one, which is number 7, and that one, number 6.
Actually, during the pandemic, there was a opportunity, or very good chance for me to apply for funding. Art Council Wales, they had it was available for artists who struggle with financially during the pandemic period. So I applied my proposal titled as development of 3 different techniques. Actually, I introduced 2 different techniques already, but the other one, I couldn't do it because I needed to use fabricate laboratory in university, but the university was also closed, so I couldn't use the machine. But it will appear when in September at the British Ceramic Biennial. So I applied with the third my object for the British Ceramic Biennial. So I was selected as a shortlist. So I will show the new work at the British Ceramic Biennial. And then, as Elenia said, I really like thinking of my new idea when I was driving. So 4-hour driving down here, wasn't really tired. Wasn't tired at all. So my brain is keep working. So this work is also I developed while I was driving, and then after driving, after arriving at a certain destination, I put all the idea to my idea book, and this work is this idea developed for 4 years.
Wow.
4 years, and then in 2019 I made it happen.
I remember seeing in the last show the first of these pieces actually.
And then I'm thinking of another new one, but I will not
You're not
tell
going
you.
to tell us?
No.
Okay, so we've got to
if
watch
you
this
wonder
space.
about, just see in 2023.
Okay, so where are we now? Oh, in this show, so you heard it. They'll be making their debut here.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, that's exciting.
Always. I really every 2 years with the exhibition, giving me really challenging me to show the new work. So I try to push myself to make a new one, and then I really want to show something new to the customer who like my work. So.
Fantastic. And so these pieces, Jin, when did you have the initial ideas for these pieces? Was it at the beginning of the lockdown, or were you thinking about them already?
Already have an idea there. So I just didn't have time.
Right.
Yeah,
and that
so,
allowed you the time.
Yeah.
And when you talk about the new work and the larger scale, how large are we talking?
Not that large.
Not that large, but larger than we've seen.
I think I have a small kiln.
Okay, so that
it
has
doesn't allow me to.
limitations, really. Okay.
Yeah, the limitation there.
But in this show, this is probably the largest piece. Is that right?
Yeah.
So bigger than that? Wider than that?
I think this one, the shape of with the similar shape,
Yes.
and that size, I think.
Okay, so a lot taller, really.
Yeah, a little bit wider and then taller. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And then just quickly, we talked about these earlier, didn't we, Jin? And I commented on how, well, they're absolutely amazing pieces, and but how you glaze the inside of them. And I wondered why you did that. And you gave me an explanation about that. And again, it was because you're pushing the technical possibility of things, aren't you? It's not necessary to glaze them, but
I think glazing inside make this work functional, yeah, as a vase. And as a vase, I have to make sure it is not leaking at all. So, but it was difficult to prevent cracking.
yes.
So some people said, just leave it. Just leave.
But you can't do that.
Leave the crack. No one, not many people concerned about the crack
It's the
because
beauty
it is
and
artwork.
perfection,
Yeah, that's right.
exactly.
Yeah. But I can't let the work have a crack.
No.
So the putting a glaze inside make me more challenging to make it perfect as a functional.
Yes.
So it should be function as artwork,
Yes.
as well as function as vase.
Yes.
Yeah. But I don't know whether people can use as a vase or not.
It's up to them.
I use it with a seconds.
The second. Well, I like things which have a function as well. I think that's a great idea, really. But it's just fabulous on its own. Yeah.
Yeah, like a couple.
Yes.
So they are really in this environment, like a light top, and then they will be really different.
Yes. I've noticed that in the gallery. You know, when the lights are off and then when the lights are on, and as the light moves around, they really do take on. They look like different pieces almost. You know, because the surfaces seem to change.
And also the background is really important.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
So with the light background or white background, the light tone can be blended, so darker tone can come out, like can appear forward.
Yes.
Yeah, with a dark background, the darker tone can be blended, and then lighter tone can come out. So it all depends on the circumstance. Yeah. So visually, really different.
Which is how those flow pieces differ, because obviously one is on a light background, and the other one's on a dark background.
Yeah. So because they have now lots of shade, so that's why you can't see actual blending with a lighter tone on the cube. Can blend it to the background. But if there is not much shade on it, it might be different.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
And also I noticed in this collection there's no vessels with lids this time. You moving away from that kind of work, Jin?
I never think about the lid.
The lid. Well, to
With
be
that.
fair, some of them look like they have got
Maybe,
lids
yeah.
on them anyway, which is your idea, because you want to...
Maybe I will try. But I don't know. Okay, make a lid.
No, but you've done them in
containing
the past,
something.
haven't you? But
Yeah.
you know, it's not necessary, because it's all about the illusion, isn't it?
Yeah.
For instance, this piece looks like it has got a lid on it, but it hasn't, which is what makes it what it is, you know.
Lots of people try to open
Of
it.
course they do, which is brilliant, actually.
Yeah. Actually, at the beginning, at the beginning of my work, I made a cylinder with a lid. but lid was hidden by pattern.
That's right. In fact, we showed some of those pieces. Yeah.
So I think you remember,
Yes.
and then you expect something
Different.
similar things
Yeah,
with
yeah,
that.
that's right. Which is, that's
Might
what
be.
work is all about. Maybe. 2023.
Everything can possible.
Yeah.
Maybe 2023, I may unified two technique,
Yeah.
and then
Yes, we spoke about this.
Yeah.
Sort of hand building and throwing in one piece. Well, that sounds very exciting.
also a minimum of color will be introduced. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I look forward
I think.
to that. Yeah. But I wonder if the camera wouldn't mind just kind of going around looking at the pieces in more detail. And I'll just see if there's any questions, Jin. So I'll leave you home for a second.
Yep.
Here, and it's from Catherine, and she says, what do you mean by semi-porcelain? Is it a particular mix with other types of clay?
Actually, when I when I was looking for the right clay body, I wanted to have high temperature firing, which make the body stronger. And then I want to get as white as porcelain, but I don't want to get high shrinkage.
Okay.
Because what I want to, my technique will be really sensible with the shrinkage, because I have to make the shrinkage all the same, similar as possible, from all the way from light tone to the dark tone. So shrinkage should be minimum. So that's why I didn't go to the porcelain.
Full porcelain.
Yeah, because it is like a 13% of shrinkage there. So semi-porcelain is much less, not much less.
But less.
Yeah, 10% around.
Right.
So that's why I choose the semi-porcelain.
So it's more stable in a way. But you plan maybe to do pure porcelain pieces in the future? Maybe?
Maybe, everything, I can't say no,
Maybe.
I don't say no, everything is possible. Because sometimes I open my idea book, and then sometimes I use the old idea,
Yes.
and then the old idea can be used for the future.
Yes. Yeah,
So
I
it's,
see.
everything can be possible.
Yeah.
So I don't say no, I will say yes.
Yes.
Probably,
Probably.
yes.
Okay. This
Yeah.
is exciting. And another question, this is from Kevin. He says, how has growing up in Korea influenced your work? And Kevin is asking this question from Canada, actually.
Like my career, not Korea.
Not Korea.
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 That's,
Yeah.
Korea. Yeah.
Yes.
It's quite good question
Yeah.
because I was really considering about that. My main goal, I want to be the stage I don't worry about financially. And then I really want to make what I want. Sometimes even though I've been working as a ceramic artist for a long, like 17 years, I think, I'm still struggling financially with family. So that's why even though I want to make something new, something challenging me, I have to make something popular. Sometimes, smaller one, because bigger piece is more challenging.
Yes.
The smaller piece is less challenging.
I see.
Yeah, but in some way it is good to make a smaller piece because the technique can develop when I make the smaller piece repetitively. repetitively make smaller pieces. Yeah, technique, and then can develop when I was making many things.
That's really interesting. I think it was lost a bit in translation, the question, because actually what Kevin meant, growing up in Korea, the country, where you're from. But that was really interesting, so I'm glad that you...
I can't distinguish it between
I know,
Korea
and I couldn't
Korea.
either, but yeah, where you're from. No, that's good, that's fine, because that was really interesting.
Growing Korea.
Yeah. So, yes. Has it influenced your work? How has it influenced your work?
Actually, these days, Korea is more on the TV because of they did well in pandemic crisis.
Yeah.
And then like a cultural, like BTS or movies, Academy Movie Award.
Yes.
And more people want to know, and then more people know about Korea at these days. So it's good for me because I really like, for example, I used to got a question from anonymous people. Ni hao, or are you Chinese first? And then no, I said no. But are you Japanese?
No.
Are you Japanese?
You kept them guessing.
So I'm Korean, and then which part?
Right.
North or south?
Yeah.
So very little know about Korea.
Yes.
But these days, are you Korean?
Yeah.
Yes.
Although that's the first
really
question. Yeah,
direct.
well done. Yes.
Yeah, this is something new happening with Korea. So like a G7 happened here. But my work started before Korea has
on the map, as it were.
Really famous. So it's good to. How can I say? It is good because people know because people know more about Korea, and it may help me to promote.
Yes, because there's an interest more in the culture and the place. Although your work is definitely not kind of traditional.
Not
Korean,
traditional,
isn't it?
but I can.
Has it helped you?
Sure, of course, because I am Korean. So, yeah, because I grew up in really Korea for more than 26 years, so all my history from Korea. I can't say my work is related to Korean culture, but might be. So I make it. I make my work through my myself, my ego or spirit. So because I grow up in Korea, so it all related each other. I think. I don't know whether it is right answer or not.
To answer Kevin's question. So yeah. Wow. Well, that's been really, really interesting, Jin, and I'd like to thank you again for showing with us. This is, as I said, it's the third time. I really look forward to 2023 to see the new work, and thank you so much for coming. And I should probably mention that alongside your work, we're showing fantastic paintings by Neil Davis, and also wonderful jewellery by local jeweller Guy Royal. And if there's any other questions, we will pick them all up on the email, and we will answer them personally. So
let me know.
I'll let you know.
I will.
Okay.
Email back.
Fantastic.
The answer.
Thank you, Jin.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
And thanks everyone for joining us. Good night.
Bye.